Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Fernanda Aguilar Perez, but most people call me Fee because I'm aware my name is very hard to pronounce. And I always tell this to people. I'm sorry, Ellie, you're going to listen to all my horrible jokes all over again. Well, it's not a joke, it's actually a fact of life. My name's from the ABBA song, but with an A, Fernando to Fernanda. But anyway, welcome to this session where we'll discuss a little bit of the challenges, solutions, and support that the wider public health workforce needs. And what I will try to cover today is basically what are the main challenges that we know the public health workforce is facing at the moment, some solutions that we think might help, and also the type of support we think you need. And before we start this conversation, this is something that we at the RSPH, I work at the Royal Society for Public Health, I'm a policy executive there. And this is something that we are always trying to tell people. The public health workforce was already under a lot of pressure before the pandemic. The situation was already bad before the pandemic. They were already stressed and stretched out before the pandemic. The pandemic just made everything worse. Like you can see here, the public health grants decreased for the past few years. And when we say decrease, if you look at the absolute value, they actually increased, but that's the absolute value. When you look at the impact of inflation, and I'm talking about years before 2022, because now inflation is around 9%, and some predictions say it might hit 11%. Even before that, we were already having issues with the public health grants because they did not match inflation. So if you look at how much money went to local authorities, it was actually less money every single year. And also the workforce was already spread too thinly across teams. Recruitment and retention was already a problem. So I don't know, if you worked in a sexual health team, you might need 5 people, but you only had 3, and those 3 people had to deliver the work of 5. So you were already dealing with an increased demand. You were already dealing with a lot of problems. And of course, COVID just added an additional layer of stress to the workload and to lives. More demand and communities in need of more support. So it only made things worse. We want to stress this because people think that it's very easy just to blame COVID. And then if you remove this layer, if you remove COVID, if you deal with the problems of COVID, ta-da, everything is sorted. No, COVID made things worse, but they weren't good before, okay? And also at the moment, we have very little attention to preventative care. If you look at the winter plans and the things that they're talking about at the moment, most of them are about urgent and emergency care. There are some things that talk about secondary prevention, people who already have diabetes, what do we need to do so they don't get worse? But no one's talking about prevention. And public health is about prevention, isn't it? Public health has a phenomenal role in the society because we can actually help the NHS. We can alleviate the pressure at the NHS instead of waiting for things to go very bad. That's what public health does. We address the issues before they get worse. But at the moment, no one's talking about preventative care. So this is where we are at the moment. It's not a very positive place to be, unfortunately. And the data that I'm going to share with you today to show the challenges, the solutions, and the support you need, they all came from a survey we did in the beginning of the year. The RSPH has got around 6,000 members, and we sent them a survey to prepare a response to the Health and Social Care Committee because they were asking questions about the health workforce. And we were really pleased to know that they also wanted to know about the public health workforce. Because a lot of people think, okay, health workforce, nurses and doctors. No, public health workforce is also part of the health workforce. And we were happy they listened to us. And another thing that made me happy was that we had quite a lot of responses across the 4 nations. That was very good. So first of all, let's start with the challenges. And this bit is a little bit sad. I apologize now because, it's Wednesday afternoon. You are probably already tired. And here I am talking how sad the situation is at the moment. I wish I could tell you that our survey results were, when you ask questions to people and someone says something very positive that you weren't expecting, you go like, oh, this is great. I didn't have any of that, unfortunately. All we got from our survey was that there are challenges everywhere in every different beats of life you can imagine, work life, personal life. And when you have challenges that are so different, solutions are multifaceted. You need multiple solutions to address a problem that has multiple causes. So we saw challenges in all areas. Everyday work. People don't have enough staff. People don't have enough resources to deliver work with the quality they want. A lot of people were very frustrated because they wanted to do a good job, but they couldn't. And that really broke their heart. Recruitment is an issue, training is an issue, retention is an issue, well-being is an issue. People are not being able to look after themselves, and that's very important. And career progression is also an issue. We asked them if public health challenges were greater than they were before, because we knew we were living challenging moments before the pandemic. And to our surprise, I would say, we knew people would say it is a bit more challenging, but we weren't expecting 90% of people to tell us, yes, it is more challenging. And I think this quote, everything that is in a green blob, let's put it this way, is a quote from one of the people who responded to our survey. And I think this one summarized what a lot of people told us. I'm exhausted, I am overworked, and I am overwhelmed. There's a lot to do. I'm working long hours every day, and I am burned out. And because, we knew demand was high, but demand has increased even for, and 85% of the people said that demand is higher, and some people said it's unbearable. They can't deal with this anymore. They're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do anymore. And because this is an online presentation, I like talking to people. You're going to see today that I talk a lot. And I would like to have a way of engaging with you. That's why I have some few questions for you to answer. So I would love to know if you agree that your services do not have enough personnel to respond to demand, you don't have enough people in your team, or you don't feel you have the right size of team. I don't know, let me know if you think you do not have enough staff where you work. So I can see if the results of our survey and the things you're telling me kind of, go together. Because this is something a lot of people are complaining a lot, that they don't have, not only they don't have enough people, but they can't find the right people. It's a very complicated situation.
So the results for you, Fernanda, are 45% of people strongly agree, sort of 50%, 45% of people agree, and we've got a couple of neutrals in there, but no disagreements or strong disagreements today.
Wow. Yeah, it kind of goes with what we had with our survey. 72% of the people who responded to the survey said that they don't have enough people to respond to demand. Their teams, they can't grow their teams. They don't find enough people. And this quote made me sad as well, because this person has been a public health worker for very long. And they said, I think I've never seen them in this poor state before, which is very heartbreaking. And now another question for you. Do you agree your team has struggled to hire staff for the past 6 months? Has it become more challenging for you to find people to work with you in your team? Let me know what you think. Because I always say this conversation about the workforce is a conversation that it needs to continue. It's not something that is going to end today. It didn't start yesterday. It's not going to end today. We need to continuously talk about the challenges you're facing so people can listen to us.
So we've got a bit of a mixed bag on this one. About 25% of people agree and 25% of people strongly agree. So about 50% agreement. 3 neutral, so about 20%. 20% disagree, and then we've got 1 strong disagree. So it's quite mixed across the board, this one.
But it's good to know that some people disagree. It makes me a bit happier to see that it's not it's bad, but it's not horrible. Because it kind of as well goes with the responses we had in our survey. 59% of the people said that hiring staff is challenging. And we had some interesting situations talking to people who saying that sometimes they have to leave the job role or the post open or published somewhere for 6 months, 7 months, or they don't even have a deadline anymore. They just wait for people to send the CV, and sometimes they don't have the right skills. Sometimes they offer the position to someone, but then they say, "Oh, you know what? I have already found another job." So they said it's really hard to hire people at the moment. And retention is also an issue. And again, it's not a simple problem because there's a lot of work to do. A lot of people are overwhelmed. The demand is very high, but also pay sometimes it's not that great. A lot of people say that, especially some types of job like link workers, people who work with social prescribing, some types of jobs of people who work with sexual health, they are at the bottom of the pay scale. So to these people, sometimes they find an opportunity somewhere else and they go. So retention is an issue. And this one is really disheartening, isn't it? The person is so hopeless that she can't even, or the person, I don't know who it was, can't even begin to think about an answer. And turnover rates are high. This is another challenge that we talked about in our survey. And again, like I said, people find another job that could pay a little bit better. People think that the demand is not, you can't deal with it. Their work and life balance is not good. So they just leave. And it's hard to come up with a plan to retain staff because it's, like I said, you need a lot of solutions to the problem. It's a multifaceted solution. And also inadequate compensation for their work. We know that public health grants aren't that great. We know that local authorities don't have a lot of money. We even know that some were bankrupt recently or almost were. And also, we need to talk about like how you address this in a way that, we don't have enough money. These people, we are in the middle of a cost of living crisis. It's a high responsibility job because you are dealing with other people's lives and well-being. So it's not just money. Money is important, but we need to talk about how do we address this challenge well, and it's not just money that we need more than that. Another thing that we discovered in our survey is that the current situation is having an impact on people's personal lives. And that's another question I have for you. If in the past 6 months, have you felt stressed or burned out? To feel burnt out, because we all sometimes, when you had an awful week at work, it's Friday, you want to leave your bed and you go like, oh, I need to work. Oh, I have to go to work. Feeling burnout is really when you don't feel, it's more than that. It's when you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're working so much. There's so much to do. You just feel you can't do everything. You just feel you can't deal with it. You're constantly tired. You're constantly lacking motivation. That's burned out. So how are you feeling? I want to know. And I hope you're feeling well. At the other session, people were really
improvement from the last session. We do have one person who feels that they're not burnt out. 2 people, in fact, that don't feel burnt out. That's an improvement from our last session where I have to say we didn't have any no's. About 70% of people are saying yes sometimes, and only sort of 10 to 15% saying yes all the time.
I'm sorry to know that 10%, 15% are feeling stressed and burnt out all the time because it's a difficult situation to be in. And this is something we saw in our survey as well. And I put this quote there because I thought it was very interesting. 55% of people told us they were stressed. But this one told us that they told the causes of stress. And that's why I say we need multifaceted solutions. This person was telling me that financial problems are making them stressed. Because of the cost of living, what they're getting paid might not be enough and it's worrying them. They also are not feeling valued at work. They don't feel that what they're doing is worthwhile. And they are also stressed because they are having what's going on is having an impact in their personal life. So as you can see, it's not just about, I like talking about the problems with the workforce, because the first time people think about when you say we need to address issues with the public health workforce because they are tired, we need to support them, people think it's just money, Yes, it is, of course, we need more money, but this tells me we need much more than that. We need to support these people in different ways. And by these people, I mean you. 42% are also burned out. As you can see, these people, we got loads of different quotes. I put this one, this person was saying, I've been working 12 hours per day for the past 18 months or 2 years. A lot of people told us I've been working 7 days a week. Some people told us I have to do my normal job, and then I also need to do the COVID response. So I pretty much have 2 jobs in one day, and this was really stressing this person out. And like I said, lack of work and life balance. We need to be able to have time to rest. We're human, we're people. We can't be with our brains turned on every day for 12 hours a day. And like I said, working long hours too. It is a problem because you don't have time to take care of your personal life. I know it's boring, but we all have life admin to do. We all have to go to the supermarket. We want to spend time with our family and friends. And working long hours disrupts this. So this is a challenge as well when it comes down to our personal lives. And solutions. These are things that come out in our survey, and the RSPH believes they could help. But it's not exhaustive, okay? There are many more things that can be done as well. I'm just discussing some of them with you. And like I said, yes, we need more money. We need money because we need to know how much we will have to spend. We need money because we all need to think about budgets every financial year. We need money because, it brings kind of a security to the service. It was a problem we had last April because the government said last minute how much the public health grant was going to be. You can't plan for services for an entire year without knowing beforehand how much money you're going to get. It's as simple as that. How am I going to hire more people if I don't know how much money I'm getting from the public health grant? It's a real problem. And yes, money is important, but it's not everything. You need money, but you also need resources, and you also need people with the right skills, people with the right knowledge. And you need the adequate capacity for service delivery. Of course, that with money, you can develop an apprenticeship program to help your workplace. With the right amount of money, you can buy better IT. Because I'm pretty sure everyone has already had this with a computer. When you don't know if you want to burn it, bury it in the mud until it sinks, or throw it out of the window. Sometimes you just want to. You can't kill a computer, you pretty much want to destroy it. But there are days that we really struggle with the resources, and it's stressful. It has an impact on our productivity. It can destroy your day. I've seen people with very bad days with IT, and they pretty much was like lunch break, and they were like, I've lost half a day just waiting for the computer to do its job, So you need the right resources. Of course, money helps, and money can help you develop, hire staff with the right skills, etc. But it's part of a combo. You need those 3 things working together to make sure you can deliver the services with the quality you want to. Another solution is career development. And this was something I'm very passionate about professional development. And I thought it was very interesting that this came up as a suggestion in our survey. A lot of people, and it's 2 different complaints, let's put it this way. People either can't have opportunity, they don't have opportunities for CPD, they can't take a day off to study, they can't afford a course, they just don't have the opportunity to do the CPD they have to, or there is no career progression where they work. So some people said, I've been working here for 10 years and there's nowhere to go. I may be able to develop my skills, I may be able to learn more, but I'll never be promoted. And that's a problem too. You need to have opportunities for your career development, because it's important too. CPD is very important, not only for you to grow in your career, but the more you learn, the more, how can I say, rewarding your career will be. So it's not just about career progression, but it's also about learning and developing more skills to progress in your career if you want to. So it's two things that a lot of people complain that they were not able to do. And it could be a solution if we allow and if we help the public health workforce to develop, to do their CPD and to progress in their careers. They will feel valued, because when you are promoted, you work really hard, you study a lot, and then you are promoted, you feel valued. It's as simple as that, isn't it? And in the job training as well, there is a problem with a lot of people complain that they can't find people with the right skills for the job. And a lot of students complained that they finished their universities and they don't have the right skills to do the job, so they can't find a job. We need to find a way to fill this gap between workplaces not finding people with the right skills and students complaining they are too, I don't know, they're not well prepared to the job, let's put it this way. They feel they are not so prepared to the job. So in the job training might be a solution. Some people suggested that, saying, people will be able to learn with the team, people will be able to have a mentor maybe, who will help them develop the right skills for the job that that the job needs. And also equality, diversity and inclusion is crucial, because the UK is, there are people with different backgrounds living in the country. We have diverse cultures, different communities. If we bring these people to the conversation, and more importantly, if these people work with public health, they will help us understand the community better. They will help us work with the communities better. I like this example that someone told me. They were working with Latin American communities in London. They were trying to understand why they were not having the jab, the COVID jab. And it was interesting because someone knew the community leader who allowed them to talk to some people. This thing, someone knows something and you set up some sort of, I don't know, presentation on the day, bring people to the table. And they discovered that these Latin American communities were not having the jab because they didn't know where to go. They didn't know if they should talk to a GP. They didn't know if they should talk to, I don't know, someone from church or someone from the community. They just didn't know who they could talk to. And I'm Latin American, so I loved this problem that they had to deal with, because the solution was super simple. And they did that because they brought people to the conversation. So that's what we need to do. When you live in a country like the UK, where you have people from so many different backgrounds, when you have a team that invests in EDI and is diverse, it's a win-win situation. These people are going to know the communities better, they're going to understand the community better, and the community will be better supported. So it is something that we need to think about as well. And finally, support, because we are all humans, right? We need help sometimes, and it's okay. And the thing we need to talk about is better well-being and better work and life balance. People can't work 12 hours a day, like I was saying. People can't. We need time to spend with our families. We need time to decompress. This is something that I shouldn't tell this to people. I'm a bit ashamed, but I'm a big fan of the Indian Matchmaker, the program on Netflix, because my brain just turns off. When I had a very long day at work, you come home, you watch something that, do I learn anything from that TV show? No. I just, it's just nice to not think about anything. Some people go and meditate. Some people go and, I don't know, go running, go jogging, go swimming, have a meal with their family. We need to decompress. We need time to look after ourselves. And if we don't do that, it's going to have an impact in our work. Your work needs to allow you to have time for yourself. And another thing that could support the public health workforce, and a lot of people talked about it in the survey, is flexible working. And flexible working is not just working from home. Flexible working is actually an umbrella term. It also includes things like working compressed hours. For instance, you start a little bit earlier in the morning, finish a bit later at the end of the day, and then after 8 days you take a day off because you have already worked those 8 hours in your week. Or you negotiate with your employer to do something like you work from 10 to 3, because then you can drop your kids at school and then you can pick them up, and then you work again from 5 to 8, something like that. Like, it's about making the work life work for you. That's flexible working. Flexible work is not just working from home. Working from home is one of the options we have, because there are things that can't be done from home, right? You can't give a jab from home. You can't, depending on the type of job you do, you can't do it from home. And I'll use my husband doesn't know that, but I'm using him as an example because he works for the NHS, and sometimes he's a physiotherapist. If he has loads of admin stuff to do and all he needs is a computer and the internet, he does it from home. It's not very often that it happens, but sometimes he has so much to do that it's just easier for him to do it from home. And it is a simple solution, isn't it? But it helps. So it's, like I said, it's an umbrella term. Let's not think about flexible working as just working from home, because it doesn't work for everybody. Some people don't like it. I've known people who tell me, I stay at home, I go insane, I need to leave the house. But at the same time, work needs to help you. Work needs to work for you. We need to have open and honest conversations about how, because the world's changed, right? COVID-19 has proven to everybody that we don't need to work 9 to 5 like we used to. So we need to have open conversations and honest conversations about how this could work, both for the employer and the employee. And that would support a lot of people. And finally, and here I'm going to put my RSPH hat, we need to listen to you, because all these institutions, RSPH, UKPHR, we are actually enablers. We talk to you every day. We need to help you with this bridge between the things you are seeing, the demands you have, and the government. We are not a union. We can't represent you, but we can make your voices louder. And you need to be loud, because a lot of people, when they think about health workforce, they forget the public health workforce. They forget the wonderful job you do. And I don't blame them, because you watch the news and all they talk about is the NHS, which is incredibly important. But public health has a crucial role to play, especially now during winter. So you need to make yourselves heard. You need to be louder. And we, as institutions, we need to listen to you and to make sure you are heard so things can change. So I'd like to thank you all for coming to this session. If you want to, like I said, this is a conversation. I wish I could tell you things are going to improve today or tomorrow, but we know it's a long fight. We need to fight. So if you want to keep the conversation going, feel free to send me an email or an email to my team, policy@rsph.org.uk. We are in the middle of the Public Health Workforce Week that we have at the RSPH, and tonight at 8 p.m. we are hosting a Twitter chat with our CEO, William Roberts. So if you want to join us in the conversation, please feel free to. All you need to do is use the hashtag Public Health Workforce Week, and we will find you. And that's it. If you have any questions, if you would like to know anything, I am more than happy to talk to you. Or if you don't, I don't know, some people don't like asking questions live. So if you want to drop me an email, that's fine as well. More than happy to talk to you. I'll take a look at the comments to see. Yeah, Claire, we had 413 people who responded. They are our members, because the survey was sent to RSPH members. It wasn't just directors of public health. We have directors of public health who are our members, but we have all members of the wider public health workforce are members of the RSPH. We have loads of different people who are members of the organization, which is great, because then we can listen to all of them. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And if not, feel free to send me an email, because as you can see, I love talking. And I am very passionate about this topic, because I think public health has an incredible impact on people's lives. It's just that people don't see it, right? It's not like a hospital where people can see the impact of what's going on, which is a shame. It's the thing that most researchers complain about public health. Some things are hard to measure, and unfortunately, that's our problem. But at the same time, it's great because it means we're doing a good job. So thank you all. Yeah, Claire, it's really very sad to hear the reality, but this is something that we got one quote. I didn't share it here with you, but one person said, we asked them about the pandemic and how they were doing during the pandemic. And one person said, I'm doing great. This is what I studied for. This is what I've been preparing myself for years. I couldn't be happier. And she's happier in terms that she was a public health expert or a public health practitioner. I don't remember. But this person was saying, I studied so hard. I am so well prepared. Now that we are in the middle of the pandemic, I know what I'm doing and I'm making a difference. So I almost cried when I read that. I was like, yeah, you are making a massive difference. And it was very, very beautiful to hear those words. So I don't think you have any questions. Like I said, feel free to drop me an email. And thank you for listening to me, everyone.